Good evening, folks. Welcome to the September 5th, 2023 meeting of the Northfield Selectboard, and a hot one that it is. We're going to call this meeting to order. Just a quick note, this fan is making noise above me here, so if it's coming in as a hissing noise on your TV, there's nothing wrong. We're just cranked up the AC today. So, okay, we have a first order of business coming up at 6 p.m. for police officer appointments. Chris, why don't you come forward, Chief Hall? So, you seek interest in employment for the town of Northfield as a police officer.
Correct.
Chief?
Yep, Chris Miner has gone through the process. He's risen to the top, and we're happy to have him standing in front of you right now and waiting to get the official appointment as a full-time police officer in Northfield.
Okay. So, I would have to say, Chris, I was in 5 years ago, you were in front of me for seeking part-time employment, I believe it was at the time. I don't think it was full-time. And here we are, about 5 years later, in this same position. So my first question is, what has brought you back to seek employment for the town of Northfield?
I loved working here when I did work here. The people and a lot of the officers that I worked with before are still here. And they just mentioned things that have gotten great with the police department here, so I decided to hop on and see what it was all about.
Okay. And he's met all bridge and post certifications necessary for full-time
Yep,
employment?
he's good there. I mean, it's contingent of his background investigation, so I'm not done completing that yet, but contingent of a few things like that, but we'll get that completed. It looks good so far. I don't see any issues that are probably going to come out, but I can't let you know that until I'm done.
I'm good for right now, if anybody else wants.
Well, I can speak. I was on the interview committee with Alex, and I can just say that we had two fantastic candidates, and both of them were drawn to the chief's leadership. In particular with Christopher, he has 7 years of officer experience in similar towns, including Northfield. He's recommended and encouraged by other officers. He has a bachelor's degree from Westfield State. And I noted that you were really heavy duty in your spare time on outdoor recreation, and that really fits with Northfield. That's kind of a bonus for us. And I thought that your answers in general indicated you were experienced, calm, friendly, and interested in furthering your career. And I thought that the Northfield position was an excellent move for you. That was my conclusion from the process.
Absolutely, and I'll, as we said, I sat in on that committee as well for hiring and screening, and it was just really nice to, as I mentioned, to have an individual want to come back and work for the town and try it in a full-time capacity. Now that our department is a much different department, we have a different leadership in place, we have a different structure in place, and different policies in place. So I anticipate things are just going to be much better this time than it was last time for how the department was run and stuff. And what I also took note out of the interview was that you have a passion for small town policing, that he has a passion for small town policing, and that he has a want and an interest to grow his policing career at the local level. And I really do think as an officer that what I got from him was that you can make a difference in this field at the local level, building the rapport with citizens and just viewing the job in that sense. So we decided to move forward with Chris, and he had our endorsement as a hiring committee to move forward here in front of us. So,
Yep. Both had very strong scores.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I was watching the meeting of when you were last in front of me 5 years ago, and just hearing your answers now and the person you were then and the person I was then compared to, well, here we are again, just a little older, and it's amazing how change comes in time, you know? Change really comes in time. So the one more thing that I want to say, and this is important for me as I've stayed consistently busy in the public sector for quite a while now, is that make sure you find time outside of this field to find what you are passionate about and what you enjoy. It's very easy for this job to consume you, It's very easy to get caught up in it and to make this your life. And if you want to be the cop that works 90 hours each pay period doing details and stuff, then if that's what you want, then you have that right to do that. But I would strongly recommend that you find a balance, you find something on the outside of here that you're able to connect with and grow and progress with. And maybe even turn that into something you're able to teach to other officers at some point. Because I've been really big on that lately as I've gotten closer to, as I am 30 now, and that I've just tried to look at, well, what I've done the past 10 years and what I'm going to do in my next 10 years and how busy I've stayed and how I want to just grow my passions outside of my job field and stuff like that. So I would just urge the same as you. You can take the advice or leave it, but it's a field that's not getting any easier, and I strongly urge all police candidates that come forward to just find something else outside of here that you can focus your attention on at times. So, and that's it. I got to say that, so that was good.
That's nice. Well, I think he spends so much time, instead, you spend an awful lot of time outdoors
Oh, for sure. It's
and
great.
hunting and hiking and all of that, so it sounds like he has a good balance.
Well,
Yeah, I think it's good
I'll
advice.
add, just because Sarah, Chris Minor,
Thanks.
and any residents that are watching, just so we're all on the same page for the process.
Yeah.
We had one opening, so that's the reason why we were hiring a police officer. But in the meantime, I will share with everyone that Sergeant Alex Proskoff has now had the opportunity to go to the Massachusetts State Police, and the academy starts on the 11th. And so even though we had an opening, we foresee having another opening. So that being said, the timing has been great because Chris Minor actually worked here before, so he already knows the ropes. And I just want to say that appreciate all the hard work Sergeant Proskoff's done over the last 5-6 years that he's worked here, and I know that he was the acting chief at one time and helped get the PD through a tough time. So I just want to congratulate on that and give him best wishes for the town. And now that we have Chris Minor, we're happy to have you to fill because the rest of us, when you have a vacancy, it's tough to fill those in a timely manner. So this actually all worked out quite well. So he'll be filling Sergeant Proskoff's schedule, so some of the other people don't get inversed and forced to work and things of that nature, which goes into what you're saying about having a life outside of work. And so that, I think we often say that employer of choice, so we want to get the pay high enough that officers aren't just forced to stand in the road for money. So that being said, we appreciate having you. Sergeant Proskoff, if you watch this, thank you for your service.
Chief, do we have a resignation letter from Sergeant Proskoff at this
We don't
time?
have that
Why
in
don't
yet,
we do the
but
appointment first?
the 10th will be his last day. But again, he could change his mind between now and the 10th. So, but he's told me verbally that he's going to the state police and they start on the 11th.
Okay. Well, let's, as B just said, let's just we'll get Mr. Minor out of the way first. Do we have a grade and
So to
step
speak.
for the hire? You have it.
Yes, I do, and what was the start date?
I think
Today.
as soon as he
Oh,
can
effective
say tomorrow.
immediately?
Say tomorrow,
Oh,
and he can
okay.
get his paperwork
The
in.
uniform's in the closet out there.
Okay, okay, so September 6th.
His first day will be tomorrow with Officer Coleman.
Oh, great,
Officially.
okay. All right, I move that we appoint Christopher Minor to the position of police officer to the Northfield Police Department, effective September 6th, 2023, at the rate of pay, $26.65 an hour, which is grade 7, step 5.
Second.
I have a second on the motion from Heath and a motion from B. Any further discussion on this?
Glad to have you back.
And
I just had one quick question for you, Chief.
Yes.
Now, we were in the process of hiring him before Alex gave his resignation. That means we're still going to have another position?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
We will, but things changed up a little bit because of the school resource officer. The school decided not to have a school
Yeah,
resource
okay.
officer. That was the reason why we were anticipating having this position, but the school
Mhm.
decided not to have that. So it really gives us some flexibility and it'll give
Okay.
a few months to actually reevaluate what situation we're in. So
Okay,
it's a good
thank
time.
you. That's all I needed to know. Thank you.
Thank you.
And the final question I asked you 5 years ago was, you really wanted this, and you still really want this?
Correct, yes.
All right then. We'll take a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous
Enthusiastic.
passing. Welcome to the town of Northfield, Chris.
congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay.
We're
Thank
happy
you.
to have you.
Thank you.
All right, have a good day. I gotta stay up there.
Yeah, you do. Good. That's nice.
All right.
That was a good process, too. I
It was
thought.
great. Oh, it
Yeah,
was smooth. It was a good process.
good candidates.
Good candidates.
Oh, and we
I
should
forget
mention,
what- go
I
ahead.
would just want to mention we had Leanne, what's Leanne's last name again?
It had some.
Hansel?
Dr. Hansel. We had her and we had Oleg as part of the committee too, so,
Yep.
Yeah.
yeah. And Andrea, of course, and Chief Hall.
What's next for me talking about?
No,
Rules
we
and
were-
regulations, or do you want me to talk about that real quick?
If you just want to give them a heads up on that, because they don't,
I sent them emails, I think.
Yeah.
So I'm revamping the rules, and I think I've told you this for about a year and a half.
Yeah.
There's a lot of work to go through, but the rules and regulations have all been revamped. I've sent it all to you. It's just to get in standard with what every other department should be doing in Massachusetts. So, but you can go through it. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, just email me, call me, text me, whatever. And I'll get back to you on that. But that's like the smaller of the two things. That document's about that thick, but policy and procedures are probably about that thick. And so by October 1st, I should have those up and running. Again, I'm not recreating the wheel. This is not like I'm a genius doing this all downstairs while trying to do everything else I do. We're taking them from Mass Chiefs of Police, and then we're kind of making them format to what we do. Any of the ones that are elevated, I've already brought in front of you, like things that I know that the community would be concerned about, like the body cameras or pursuit policies and things of that nature. I'll take in front of you, but you're going to get all the policies and procedures at some point. I'll probably give them to you in a thumb drive. I don't think I can probably can't send them on email, but so you have those. But I'd like to get those up and running by October 1st. That's my goal.
oh,
Okay.
so you distinguish. He sent you the rules and regulations. That's his to draft and run. What he has to bring before you will be the policies. So the rules and regulations we've posted, they're the chiefs to post. Just like any internal organization that does rules, maybe planning board, they do their own rules and regulations, but policies come before you.
Right. Okay.
Okay. I think that's it. Do we have anything else?
No, I think,
Are we moving on to the Sergeant Karashkov, the leave of absence?
Yeah, so that was-
No,
that was
it's
withdrawn?
stricken, because he's going to just do a
Oh, it's
letter of
stricken.
resignation.
Yeah, that's been withdrawn.
You
That
look
is
at your
not.
green sheet.
Oh, got it. Okay.
I think that's it.
All right. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief.
Yeah. Have a good day.
Okay. So that concludes our 6 p.m. appointment. We are ahead of schedule for the 6:30. So I'll move on to citizens' concerns. Do we have any citizens' concerns at this time? Excuse me.
Yeah,
Any-
I actually have one.
You do? Okay.
Yes, please.
So would you like to come forward in front?
Sure.
We'll do it that way. Speak as a citizen.
Sarah Kearns, 39 Highland Avenue. So, in the course of attending something during the last 2 weeks, I became concerned about I've been generally concerned about some out of lane actions by one of our town employees. And what happened was I went to review the land that was for this grant application, and I had someone from the state say that our town administrator had told them we were having a special town meeting in November. And that was the first I'd heard of it. And of course, the select boards are the ones that decide when the special town meetings are. Later, when I was discussing, that was confirmed by Mallory and the other people there. It's the first that I had heard of it. And then later on I asked someone else, so that was from Representative State. Later on I asked someone else about a different situation, and they said that the town administrator told them there was definitely not going to be a special town meeting until May. So I feel like there's one employee that the select board is supposed to be managing. And I feel like we're not doing our job. There are specific things that the select board has to do as their job. There's specific things that the town administrator has to do as their job. And I see a lot of blurring of the lines. We talked about this when at the last meeting as well. So my concern is that before things are communicated to the state, they need to go through the proper channels, specifically when it comes to special town meetings or any kind of town meeting. And that would be from a quorum of the select board.
All right. Citizen concern noted. Any other citizens' concerns at this time? All right, seeing none, we will move on in our agenda. Review and approval of warrants for the September 6th meeting. Anybody?
Make a motion to approve the 9/6/23 payroll warrant of $68,338.28.
Second.
Discussion on the payroll warrant? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Vendor warrant.
I'll make a motion to approve the 9/6/23 vendor warrant of $403,000, $747,000.05. Highway, bridges, and rails, NES bathroom, truck, Article 19 ATM, and ARPA storefront.
Second.
Discussion? Yeah, a lot of stuff there. Big vendor number. He said what was incorporated into that. So
Does that mean the bathroom's done?
Pretty close.
Oh, great.
it's great. I'd like to see them when they're done.
We're waiting
Yeah,
for the
we need a
final
tour.
inspections and everything but the retainer.
Okay.
Excellent.
Any discussion? Any more? No? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Abstain, because I didn't have a chance to look at it.
Okay. Note the abstain for Sandra. Review and approval of the minutes for the October 22nd, 2023 meeting of the Select Board. Open session.
August.
Did I say October?
Yeah.
August.
Jumping ahead.
Yes.
So moved.
Second.
I so move in a second from Heath. Okay. Just 1 second. I looked at them. I like giving them a last check before they become of Northfield's history.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. All in favor of those minutes?
Aye.
Aye.
I'm going to abstain because I
Okay.
wasn't here.
Okay, B is going to abstain. We'll note that for the record, Sandy. Request from Kearns to amend the May 16th, 2023 minutes.
Was there a...
I don't know, I didn't see it. I looked and I didn't see where the addition was. I just asked that Sandra would replace the part that had been removed, but I didn't see where it was, so I was just
I
going
believe
to.
that you make the addition. I think these are the actual minutes that were approved, but you have to present the change.
Okay, I can do that, but what I asked was that so she had removed it, so the request that I made at the meeting was that it be restored. So
I don't know what was removed, Sarah, so.
the citizens' comments when I was commenting, and I spoke to you after the meeting, and you said, well, I was told not to put that in there, and I just requested that you put it back in. I will go review and
Okay,
bring it
good.
back to the next meeting if that's all right with everybody. I misunderstood.
So
Yep.
we'll retable it then.
Process. Yep.
Can you also, because it'd be helpful to have it in the homework because it's so far back, could you also, if you get a chance, just figure out where in the video we should watch?
Yeah, it's during the citizens' comments. I'll find it.
Okay.
Okay. All right, well, that takes care of that for now. Just now that we're on the same page with that, we'll have that taken care of. Interim Select Board meetings, I don't think we had anything for that. Meetings and events attended by Select Board members. Who would like to start? Pete?
Let's see, I had the Historical Commission, the Police Officer Interviews, and FERCog Finance Committee.
Okay. I had the police screening and hiring. We had that combined. Spoke about it earlier, so that's pretty much that. I don't think I had anything else. I think that's it. So, Bernie?
I had nothing.
Nothing.
I didn't have anything either.
Wow.
I went to the walk that was about the conservation land that we were looking to get a grant for over here. I went with the state and the town grant administrator to walk that as a member of the ConsCom. I met with a sewer commissioner, and I went to economic development, and other than that, I was just really sick. So I was supposed to be helping with the admin position, but I had to bow out because I didn't want to expose anybody. Supposedly I'm not contagious though, or I wouldn't have come, but I'm just wearing a mask for good measure.
Sounds like it's still in your voice.
Yeah.
Are you feeling better?
It's
though?
They gave me a little inhaler.
Oh,
It's
okay.
I tested negative for everything, but it's a reactive cough, and
Oh,
so
okay.
yeah.
Yikes.
That's no fun.
No.
Stay hydrated. You know.
Right.
Stay hydrated. Yeah, I always say that.
Chicken soup.
Okay then. Town admin's update.
Under grants, the Federal Emergency Management Agency Assistance to Firefighter Grant Award, we received $120,671 in this grant to match with a 5% match from our own budgeted funds. This will purchase 21 of the new SCBA, the breathing.
Oh, the scuba?
That's great.
The breathing apparatus, the self-contained breathing apparatus. And 2 RIT, those are the Rapid Intervention Team Rescue Packs. And so I just want to thank Mallory for writing that grant.
So Mallory was responsible for that.
Mallory wrote the grant, yep.
Fantastic.
So it was approved? Is that what you're
Yes,
saying?
FEMA approved it, and
Excellent.
we had the request in from the fire department last
That's been
year,
a few
and we said,
months.
hey, let's not put this in the budget, let's actually get a grant. So
Yay.
we wrote the grant, and we didn't have to put it in the budget, so it's great.
Great.
Thumbs up.
We are applying for an ADA grant. This is due on 9/15, so I just thought I'd bring it to your attention since it'll be in before you meet again. Mallory designed some specs. Tom has put them out to several construction vendors, and we're awaiting pricing to complete this grant. It's due to go in on the 15th. Several things in the women's room in particular were mentioned in our ADA transition plan, including the size of the handicap stall, and so we're going to apply for this grant in hopes of addressing these and getting the bathrooms updated. So we're going to go for both bathrooms and as much as we can get done. So we'll see. Let's do the 15th. Then the Department of Transportation Reconnecting Communities and Neighborhoods grant, which is due September 28th. This is the newest federal grant that Mallory is working on with MassDOT, who will still be the applicant, and WSP, our engineers, for the Shell Bridge. This grant might actually be a little bit more in line with the scope of our work for the Shell Bridge, this Reconnecting Communities grant. So we were advised by the feds every time we go through the review is you just have to keep at it. There's a very quick turnaround on this, so Mallory's been working very hard with the engineers to update the narrative and various other requirements, including letters of support, which I think you may actually be signing one tonight.
Okay, that's the same thing.
Yes, it is.
Got it.
So those are all being worked on and going in. Just a quick update on the Community Compact from 2022. The budget document section. After checking out a couple of different options, I've now reached out to the Collins Center at UMass Boston, and we're looking to create a document that combines budget information with town department reports and goals. This will be a document that shows budget information and provides a format for town departments to talk about their accomplished goals and work and their plans for the next coming year. So this will look very much like a combined town report / budget document for town meeting.
Cool.
We'll go together in some respects. We'll start working on this with the departments in October when we begin the budget process. I'll have a department head meeting. I think we're going to have someone come in and explain this new process. And this year's going to require a little bit more work because the departments are going to have to start setting goals and objectives, but it will be easier each year as they go forward because the model will be set. Won't be that hard for you guys because you already did your goal setting last year. So you're part of the process. You've already completed the first part of the process. And you will be going into it by the 26th to do your next set, which means that that will be able to roll into this document as well when we go forward with that. So we're on a bit of a tight timeline. Normally we started this, I tried to work with a couple of different entities and I was not happy with the product they were going to offer. So ate up a couple of months of our timeline, but the Collins Center has agreed to take it on and we're going to do a real big push to have this done by the time for town meeting in May.
Does this work with the goal of getting an online document that people can see?
Well, we'll post this
Or is that
online.
different?
That's a different thing.
Okay.
But this would be more informational. So people will get more information with their budget document, not just numbers. That's the goal,
Okay.
to show what departments are doing with their money and what their goals are for their next year's money. And this will tie that and be more informational along the lines of what the budget really means, what departments are doing.
This should really help the finance committee. I mean, you know, all the explanations and digging in.
So
I think
that's
it's
our
great.
hope. We're going to
Okay.
start working on that template. I think we have a meeting tomorrow, Sandra, because she does the town report. I think we have a tomorrow morning. Wednesday. So anyway, so we're starting that process because we have to design what it will look like, and then there's a template, and we'll start filling that in. Pioneer Valley Regional School District Master Planning Process. I attended that first meeting as a representative from Northfield. That was back in August. And that was the meeting to look at the district currently, to address some of the goals and objectives, to give the consultants some information to start planning with. The second meeting is a community forum on September 18th. This is a big listening session for community voices. It'll be from between 5:30 and 7:30. I don't think they've announced the location yet, whether it'll be at the school, I'm assuming probably. But this is part of this process that they're doing for the new sort of master planning. So the 18th will be the first of the community forums. So anybody interested in being involved in that process, I just want to put that date out there. I'm sure there'll be more reminders. I'm sure it will be on the school's website, plus we'll put something on ours when we have a location, but that one will be out. And the 350th parade, confirmation emails have gone out to all the participants, approximately 85 to 90 different entries. There's floats, tractors, music, classic antique cars, emergency departments, horses, many other types of entries. We're still looking for volunteers to help on the day before, the 29th, for setup, and the day of the 30th for the running of the actual parade. So anybody who has any time, feel free to join in. It's going to be fun. It is. Really be part of something big. You can contact me and I'll put you in touch with the volunteer coordinator, or you can go on the 350th website and there's an option to sign up for volunteering. So postcards will be going out to residents in the Highland Road area, and that's like Highland, Pine,
Highland Ave.
Holton, and Aldrich, Howard Hotel. I mean, all those, to give them a full update, because we're going to take a whole lane of travel down Highland to set up the parade from around 11 o'clock to the time it runs through at 3. So it's a brief period, but we're hoping they'll park their cars and walk on down and join everybody in viewing the parade.
Yeah.
And then we'll be out of their hair because it starts at 1. So I encourage everyone to come down, and there is going to be an MC and stands. That's Nathan Latois, who's going to be our MC.
Oh, great.
And that will be in front of the Bible church and the school. Like, that's sort of the middle area there, that's going to be the central.
Oh.
And there's going to be a craft fair.
Where? At the school?
No,
Well, we have,
in the parking lot next door.
Oh.
We have 22 or ABC 40.
I don't know,
ABC,
we'll send it
Western
out to
Mass
them. We certainly, I know that Stacy was on Mass Appeal, Mass
Yes.
Live.
Mass Live, I
right,
think. Yeah.
just the other night to talk about the parade. So they're
Awesome.
starting their big marketing campaign now. We know BNC TV has committed to filming the parade, so we're pretty excited about that. And the craft fair is going to be across from the IGA in this parking lot over
Oh.
here, starting more
Outstanding.
around 10 a.m. So there'll be a little craft fair there and some booths. And who's coming? You guys.
Yeah.
Oh,
What are we doing?
I have.
We have something to ride on.
You want to ride in something? You want to walk. You don't want to walk with Congressman Neal and Senator Comerford and Representative
Can I get one of the
Wicks.
banners that go across me with a top hat?
Dignitary.
A sash? Are you looking for a sash?
I just want to look. I want to look like one of those old-fashioned, like, hey, you know,
Wear
those-
tux, black tux and tails.
With a top
Get one of
hat.
those little carts that you ride around in with your knees sticking out. You know what I'm talking
So
about?
right now, you guys are would be right in the front. So technically, lineup is around 11 o'clock. Your group isn't that big, so if you didn't show up at the dot
You're
of
gonna be in
11,
the front.
but you're going to be right after the parade marshals.
Okay,
So
I'm just thinking.
I just need to
yeah.
eventually confirm with me and let me know that you're going to be there. Right now, there's no plans for you to ride anything. It's only a mile. I think you can all handle
Where are
that.
we
Ride in
walking?
my muscle car, Heath.
You're going to
That's what I was
start.
kind of hoping for.
We'll ride in my Mopar.
Well, if Alex wants to drive, maybe my husband will lend you the Corvette.
Little Shriner's hat.
The Shriners will be at the end.
Oh,
They're closing the
Are they
parade.
wearing the? Are they riding on the little things?
As
Bobby?
long as there's no rain, they're bringing bands and ramps and cars and
Those little go-karts that spill oil all over the lawn.
supposedly go up ramps, and I just ask for no rain. That's all I say.
Okay.
So, but yes,
Right.
you guys would be at
Tall
the
order
beginning
this
there. It's just over a mile. I have the parade map if you want to see it. You would start up, the parade technically is really going to start at the corner with the Trinitarian Church,
Oh, okay.
but you guys actually start at Pine because there's some entities that get fed in it at the church. So you walk from Pine to down here. I mean, Maple if you're driving, but after this.
So I can
probably.
just jump in from my house. Okay.
Yeah. Just join in.
Run
But
out the
anyway,
front door.
so think about it and let me know so I can get you in there. But we do have Congressman Neal and Senator Comerford and
great.
Representative Wicks. They'll definitely all be there. And
Okay.
many other,
And we're all walking.
they're all walking.
Wow.
But a drive, somebody could offer up a car, but
Okay.
we're going with
As long
that.
as my knee holds up.
So that's me.
Okay.
So, good update. Thank you very much, Andrea.
Wow.
Yeah.
Thanks to the 350th.
Yeah.
Holy
fantastic.
moly.
Fantastic work by the 350th. We have a 6:30
Yeah.
appointment for special event permit application from Brewery at 4 Star Farms fireworks viewing.
Speaking of the parade,
Speaking of which.
350th.
To be followed up by,
Dun, da, da, da.
You must be Chris Sellers.
That's me.
Okay. So, and what we have done in the past year is revamp our special event permit application. So it's a precedent that we set now for anybody who seeks a permit, which obviously we want this fireworks thing and all the lovely celebratory stuff that is associated with it, but we have to follow our process that we swore to uphold. So, yes, you are Chris Sellers.
I am.
Brewery at 4 Star Farms, event information, fireworks. So, tell us about it.
Well, the special event permit is for us being the primary viewing location. The main reason I filled this out was that there's going to be a lot of traffic in a very short period of time on Pine Meadow. It'll require a police detail. And we're going to be managing parking. It's just outside of the ordinary traffic flow of Pine Meadow, probably dramatically outside ordinary traffic flow of Pine Meadow.
for sure.
Yeah.
And all appropriate departments have been contacted.
I met with the police chief. We were on site. He had great suggestions. I know he commented via email between Stacy and I about where they'll be at. Stacy's kind of coordinating with him on getting the police detail organized and paid for and all that kind of good stuff. So, yeah.
Okay.
I just have to ask you, did you get this copy of the certificate of insurance
Did I?
from the town?
No.
I have it, so for you guys.
Okay. Is that for the fireworks or for the?
Yes, for being on your property, you have a certificate of insurance for the town.
Right. So these are sort of mutually exclusive things.
Yeah, no, it's not the
Yeah.
fireworks, because the fireworks people have to have their own insurance, but this is
Right.
for the town to be on your property for the event.
Okay. Gotcha.
I do have a copy of the certificate of
Yeah.
insurance.
Yeah. Feel free to forward that along.
Okay.
Thank you.
Standard stuff. Okay. Any questions from the board?
I noticed there's no request for waiver of permit fee. I was wondering where this is, the partner on this is the 350th committee. If we don't waive the permit fee or something.
My assumption was that because we're a private business, as a viewing location applying for this relative to traffic patterns and it's on sort of our contiguous business property, that we would be responsible for the permit fee. It's totally fine with me.
Yeah. You're saying they're associated with the whole thing is part of the 350th, and I feel that if you're gonna,
Yeah.
you're hosting the parking, you have your employees and that.
Sure.
Do you want to make a motion to that effect?
I'll make a motion to
Yeah.
add the waiver of the permit fee.
Sure.
Second that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we already paid it, but that's no big deal.
I still have it, Chris.
Okay.
Okay.
Do you want to vote on it as the whole motion, or do you
Yeah,
want
let's add it to the whole motion.
We'll do it the whole motion. Yeah.
Okay.
We'll
Any other comments and before I make a motion?
Nope.
Okay. I'll make a motion to approve the special event permit application from the brewery at Four Star Farm fireworks viewing on 9/30. This is in conjunction with the 350th committee, and also to waive the permit fee.
Second.
Second from Heath. Motion is from Bernie. Final words, final discussion on that? Just that we're all really looking forward to this celebration, and that we thank Four Star Farms for the ability to host this on their property.
Yeah.
So,
Our pleasure.
yeah,
What a momentous occasion for the town of
absolutely,
Northfield.
absolutely.
And I have to say, special note about the 350th committee. It's impressive how organized they've been this whole year. It's a lot. It's a lot of work, and it's been really impressive to see.
That's good.
All those in favor?
Hi.
Aye.
Unanimous passing. Chris, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks.
I'll forward that to you.
Perfect. Thanks.
And see Sandra about the,
Check. We need to check back.
Okay.
okay.
Moving on in our business, we have Economic Development Advisory
Goodness.
Committee composition.
Well, I just wanted to point out that we inadvertently appointed Mallory to the actual committee. She's not actually eligible to be a member, because to be a member of a town committee, you actually have to be a registered voter, therefore a resident. And so just wanted to correct that mistake. Don't want to mess up the quorum, don't want to mess up votes or anything like that. So we should actually remove her. She will obviously continue to be the liaison to the committee and work with them as needed, but she really shouldn't have been, like, I'm the liaison to the Emergency Services Building Committee, but I'm not on the committee.
That's right.
So she really should be removed from that vote officially, just so that it doesn't officially show that she's a member. Could mess up quorums, could mess up,
We already discussed it, and we were already aware of it.
right, but the select board appointed her, so we just have to have you guys.
So do we
officially
have
remove
to undo it?
her. Yeah, I would vote to remove her as a member of the committee, just so we have the record in case there's any question.
Okay. I move that we remove Mallory Sullivan, her appointment to the Economic Development Advisory Committee, because she is not a registered voter of Northfield and she is the employee liaison.
Second.
He's got it.
By a hair.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
All right. I suppose that takes care of that.
Yep.
Electronic communication policy.
I think Keith asked to have this put on here.
Yes.
And to take a look at it as an update. We did institute it back when before all our boards and committees actually had emails, and we were just starting that process. So I've actually given you a potential update draft from my perspective. Now, obviously, you guys do with that what you will and make your comments. I handed out as a separate sheet of paper.
Yeah, I mean,
But-
that was on my notes, was what's different. And then, so this
The
piece
one with the red is
didn't
what
come-
I would propose. The
Right,
one
but
you
it-
have is the one that's in place. So you
But
can
this
compare.
didn't, this was, we just got this today, this wasn't in the preparation,
No,
right?
it wasn't in the homework because I just spent all weekend on the parade. I just didn't get to it. But I did want to have it for you to look at. Now, this is just my suggestion. Obviously, this is for your discussion, for you guys to decide what you want to do with the policy. And
Yeah.
I can just explain what I'm suggesting, and then you guys can do what you will.
Just a quick question, how old is the current policy?
I think you adopted this, it's got to be at least 3 years now, because we did it when we
It's
started.
not while I was on the board.
Well, then maybe 4 years, because
Yeah,
we did
okay.
it just when we were starting to, when we just hired Northeast IT, and a few months later, we started to expand who was going to be getting town emails,
Oh.
including boards and committees and actual members, and we've had more employees since, so we've expanded the number of people, which made sense, because the goal always was for the town to preserve official communication, to be in compliance with the law. So we put this policy in to kind of update that as we moved and transitioned into that. The reason I'm proposing, well, I think Keith can speak to why he's proposing, but I can just certainly speak to my proposed changes. I think they're mostly for clarity, to be more specific, and also we can remove the whole thing about password to the town secretary at the
Yeah.
time. We don't need that because technically we have an IT vendor. If there's any reason the board asks for or the court asks for, the IT vendor can supply the information whether or not we have a committee. We were more concerned that if someone changed, we'd lose access, like the password. But if we get a new member of a committee or a new employee, we can have IT reset the password. So we just don't need that anymore. In practice, we've already learned that, so that's an out. And then I was asked to look at making this much more specific. It was a little bit loose on who it was applicable to, who it was applicable from. So again, and why we're doing it, to be in compliance with public records requests pursuant to Mass General Law. So
What about having something included that the usage of the email does not represent any department or any organization connected to the town, and that we're not we are not speaking on behalf of any part
well,
of the
there's
town of
more to
Northfield.
the policy. I mean, you can read more of it. This is just about specifically accessing.
Just
but
so,
we can add
like,
anything
you know,
we want.
if somebody uses the email and they try to get a hold of somebody, that they're not representing the town because of the fact that they're using a town email. You follow me?
But in some respect, they are.
Yeah.
When they use a town email, they are
Can't just
representing the town.
absolve.
Yeah. Trying to think of how I can word that.
Has a lawyer looked at this? Because there's a part of it that I think is questionable.
Which part?
And I'd love to have it and like maybe come back now that we have this, because this we didn't have to prepare with. The part about any external communications from board members received from the public must be CC'd to. I think that there's a little bit of a wiggly gray line there, and I would love to get a little bit more guidance on that.
And if I point that out, what's your question on that? Technically, if they are, if the public is emailing you in your official capacity and they use your personal email, for example, your obligation is to CC that to your town email, and then you should respond from your town email.
Oh, I see.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
That's-
That happens to
That's
me
how
all
you
the
preserve
time.
their communication,
Yeah.
is you have to make sure it gets into your official. Because there are times when residents might know you're, but they're asking you for a town business.
To,
But this
to that
says-
point, just quickly,
Yeah.
the first year or two that I was involved in this board, before Heath got on, and you were a big advocate for the push of town
Yeah.
emails, because we all used our personal emails at the time.
And then it leaves it open, yeah.
Yeah, and so it created a terrible standard, and I had pushed for it too. I didn't get anywhere with it. Go figure. So I just so when Heath got on the board, we were able to kind of collectively come up with a policy in this sense. And there are still some people out there that still have my email,
Right.
and I wish now that they didn't, but they'll still like get a hold of me once in a while. So I think having something like that in there would help, just so that if they do get a hold of my personal email, I'm able to follow this policy and CC it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
May I
Of course, yeah.
elucidate? So these absolutes are concerning any external communication board committee members receive from the public must be CC'd. At the very least, although I would really like to table this so that it can be considered, because I think to bring it up with these changes, when we had a prep that didn't include this, and so I would like to have the time to include it. But at the very least, it should include, you know, that it be about the town. This says
Well-
any external communications between board committee members or that board committee members receive from the public. That any.
You need to start at the beginning of the sentence, though. It's actually reads, all boards and committees, board members or employees who are assigned an official town email account will conduct all town business via their official email account. Any external communications between board committee members received from the public must be CC'd to and answered from their official town email account in order to preserve all official town communications for compliance with any public records request pursuant to Mass General Law. So it's in the first sentence.
So I don't need to CC my town email if I'm talking about buying a car, right?
No, it's board and members who are assigned an official
capacity.
email
Right.
who will conduct all town business via their account. Any external communications, they must CC. It's in the same sentence.
But it would need, you would need to add
Then we
a
can add-
phrase or a clause
Okay.
that
So
said.
add
let me
that.
give some
Official
let me give
meeting.
some context to this since I'm the one who brought this forward. I haven't had a chance
Yes,
to speak
please.
yet. So the number one, the reason why, to go back in history, why when I first got on here, I wanted to bring this forward was because as a police officer in this town, I was using my personal email and receiving law enforcement sensitive emails to it. We were receiving bulletins, we were receiving wanted posters, we were receiving, I mean, most Amber Alerts are public record, but we were receiving things with the tagline on the bottom that was law enforcement sensitive being sent to my personal email. All business that was conducted through that email was now subject to public record because I was an employee of the town. So every text message you send, every email you send, if it is not through this town account, I can file a piece of paper tomorrow and have the contents of that text message phone records that you have, and I can have the contents of the email records of any town business you did through your personal phone. On my own phone, I have a Google Voice account that is the number that I've given to everybody here. So if anybody wants it, you can have it. It's everything that's on there is just all town business associated with that particular phone number. So the same thing with any email records. And I've become aware that there are still quite a few people who are members of either boards or employees for the town that are using personally created emails to conduct town business, which that could put us in a huge bind with public records. It could open us up to open meeting law violations and public records requests, but not having an email that is on a town server could open up a whole slew of email accusations, things been deleted, it's not archived in a way that the town servers can. So to avoid all of those things, I see absolutely zero reason why anybody in this town, now that we have all of our IT infrastructure set up the way we have over the last few years, why anybody should be using a personal email to conduct town business. We have enough of an infrastructure now where anybody who gets appointed to a board, anybody who's doing official town business can get a town appointed email address. If we can't, it's the cost of doing business, get it there. That's my point, the reason why I want to review this. We should just be in compliance. Let's get with 2023. We're in this world now where we shouldn't be having to send messages via personal email, carrier pigeon, whatever. We should be doing things through our own town emails and be fully there in compliance.
I would just add then, in the draft, anything that says received from the public for town business must be CC'd and answered to. So add for town business.
Yeah.
B.
I was just going to add, because when I was on the Town Governance Study Committee, one of the members was on the email communications. At one point, there was an electronic communications committee, and he was really, and he's an IT person, so he was really concerned that we were using our individual employees, our personal accounts, because he said from a public record standpoint, if you've got stuff sitting on your personal computer and there was a public records request, and if, let's say it was a big case or something like that, then your personal computer and your phone and everything could be subject to seizure in order to get that. So that kind of made us all like, oh, okay, we'll use, I think at the time Tammy Pelletier was on, so we used her town account, even though it was custodian at least it was archived. But I would just add that it's for the personal benefit too, because you don't want to have your personal equipment somehow end up in a public records case of some sort. That frightened me
Yeah.
like
Well,
4 years ago.
I've personally had some issues. I set up a Gmail that is just business and that's fully discoverable because Outlook took over I purchased Outlook on I purchased Microsoft on my computer, and Outlook took over from this town, and now they're trying to charge me $360 every year when I had already purchased it. Excuse me, I'm not even going to say that word. It messed up my computer and caused me a lot of problems. So that's fully discoverable. But what you're saying, B, is that
That's still personal, whether you call it business or
well,
not.
when you bring, you're saying people have access to your computer. Anybody doing minutes, anybody doing that on their computer, then that's also access to the computer, right? I mean, where's the line?
Not once they're official and posted to the town website, then those become the official
Yeah.
record.
Okay.
Those are just notes.
No, first of all, you
But-
don't have to use Outlook to use the town email. We have people who aren't using Outlook.
Yeah, I do web. I do through web.
Yeah, you don't have to
Yeah,
put
you can
Outlook
do
on
a-
your system
You
at
can do a
all.
browser, you can
You
do
can talk
a
to the-
different client.
You can set that up with the IT vendor.
I tried to set it up with them. They
Well, the
didn't
IT
seem to
vendor
know
has
what
walked,
they were
they've
doing.
walked a lot of people through setting it up, so, I mean, this is the first we've heard that they have been unable
Yeah,
to
if
help
you
you.
use a Microsoft client program that resides on the computer, it's going to want you to pay $360.
Right?
But if you do it through just a standard web browser, you can do it that way through, I think it's just Outlook.com. I think
Yeah.
you can go.
Because it froze up my entire computer, all my office and everything.
If
It
you're
was a
using the
pain.
client version, that stuff will happen. If you do it through
You don't
Chrome
have to do a
or
client
whatever,
version. You can do a
get
browser
in that way
version.
Go
through
straight
Outlook.
to the browser.
Okay.
Yeah, you should be able to log in.
Well,
that way
I'm
pretty
totally
easy.
willing to do that. I just got really tired of my computer being
Are you
hijacked.
on-
Yeah, and
Are
they
you
try
on
to
a-
nail you for
Right?
way overpriced client
Well,
programs
I don't
now,
know why
just
you
to
have-
use programs that are on your
I'm not sure
computer,
why
so
you
I
have to
get
do that, because you guys may have full licenses with Office 365 attached to your email already. So I'm not sure, I think you,
Yeah, but I already purchased it so that it can't, because I have my work data. So I can't have Excel going haywire and saying I have to pay for the data that I've spent years collecting.
no, I understand. I would have you reach out to them because they have walked
Okay.
dozens of people through this now.
Yeah.
All right, I wasn't.
Okay, so let's get
Okay.
back to this policy here.
Yep.
What do we want to do? Do we want to table it?
I definitely think tabling it's a good idea, just so that we can do a good review of it. We can look at
Okay.
some of the notes that Andreas had here. We can make our own. I've got a really good one from Townsend, Mass. That I would be.
Actually,
There's a way for me to share it without an open meeting law violation, but I would like to get that version in people's hands because just in kind of like networking. You got one?
it's in the homework.
Is
Oh, it is?
Is that
Okay.
the
Yeah.
one from Board of Selectmen, Townsend, Mass?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, that's
that
it.
was going to be my
It's
next question, because that one actually is pretty darn clear.
It's pretty clear and it's
Yeah.
very well spelled out, like standard policy would be. Yep. Okay.
Yeah.
So
lots
yeah,
of
I
good
think
stuff.
I think being able to just kind of like look at what somebody had as a great template,
Yeah.
and then look at what some changes we can make and come back to it. I think that's a good idea.
I already went, so I went through because I used to manage email and IT. So I went through both and I pulled out the stuff that I liked in the old one that we have and what I liked in the Townsend one. So I can send that to you. But I thought the Townsend one was pretty clear. The only part that wasn't clear was under discipline. It really sounded like an employee policy. They kind of mixed employee and town officials and committee members all under that, and that's probably where I would clear it.
Yeah, and in that section, I
Right.
question the ability to put in there recall from his or her elected
You
position
can't.
because
Yeah.
you can't
make that a
It doesn't just
policy.
automatically recall
No.
your position if you don't abide by the policy, but
But technically, you don't need to change that language because you are an employee of the town of Northfield.
Oh, okay.
When
And
you
we've
sit
got
on,
many boards that don't do this, and not out of evilness, just they, you know.
always been that way.
Yeah.
And I think
And-
some share. It's like one person has a login for the board or
Yes.
something like that, which is that's.
we've established, they have to have a secretary or a clerk who's in charge of their email.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we've had pretty good, and we, pretty much all the standing
We-
policy committees have all been issued emails.
We are
We've worked over 3
miles
years.
ahead
I don't
of
think
where
I
we
can
were. We are miles ahead because when I started was like a year after, that was one of our recommendations from town governance. And that, first of all, you cleaned up the IT vendor that we had before was a nightmare. And then you started putting stuff in the budget so we can actually hand out email addresses. So I think we're in a really good spot, and we can just kind of tidy it up with an updated policy. Yeah.
And I actually have something that I think is tangential, so I think it can be discussed on this topic, which is having access to being able to print when I'm here. I can't send anything to the printer, and I'd really like to do that. And I've asked about it and been told that it's not possible. Can we make that possible? Because that's part of open meeting. That's part of, if my email can send it to the printer, but I can't. And I brought a little stick and it wouldn't work with the printer, so.
You have to say that it works as a PDF.
Yeah, I did it all. I did
Well-
the things that I was suggested to do, and it didn't work.
the
So
only
we should have
place-
access, as select board members, we should have access to be able to get on the network here so that we can print.
The problem is if we plug you in behind the network, then everybody's computer who's external becomes a potential behind our network server, behind our network defenses,
Got it.
open
So
to,
can we,
open to the
can we
net.
make a
So it's a
port? Can we make
security-
an email? Can we make a something where all select board members can
Well,
use
to
it to
get to
access?
the printer, you have to get into the network because the printer's on the network. So anybody, and we had this with another committee that wanted to be able to just plug in. They used to just like plug into the wall their laptop to print. And the problem with that is everything they do on that laptop
That's how
now
you,
goes into our server.
that's how you
it's
blow your
potentially-
security right out there.
So that's why we wanted to make
Yeah.
sure that you
No,
would be able
that's
to
a no.
email it. I mean, Sandra has printed things for various committees.
I know, that seems a little,
Or you can put it as a PDF on a thumb drive and put it into the copier and it will print.
I mean, in theory, but it didn't work when I did it.
Well, if you didn't have it as a PDF, it won't.
No, I did.
Okay,
But we can get the assistance on that if you need
Okay.
it.
so let's table this. We'll all,
We can have a little training session. We can all go down to the copy and you can show us.
Excellent.
There. But yeah, just from a security, having
me.
people plug into a network is not good.
it's opening Pandora's
Yeah.
box.
Just
Right.
on this subject, real quick, what is the Northfield Town Hall Enterprise account? Do you know what that is?
You mean NTH Enterprise?
Enterprise.
That's our network. We have two, it's one of our
So
servers.
there's a
We have
public
two
one and
servers.
there's a net.
We do have a public one that people can access to get internet.
Yep.
Yes, but they don't go behind our server.
But the Enterprise one does.
No, I don't think so. I think you have to, if you're gonna go behind it, you log it. You have to log
So
it.
what does that one do?
Well, there's a public web, I have to look and see the two names. Just two of them, do two of them
Yeah,
come up?
Enterprise. I got Northfield Town Hall. I got Northfield Town Hall Enterprise.
Right, I don't think you can get into Enterprise.
That's what I'm trying to ask
Yeah, it
because
should be
there
town
is a
hall.
way in most modern printers that I could print from my iPad. She could print from her Apple device to that thing through
Why don't we-
VPN
why don't-
firewalled
why don't
computer. So I mean, I'm
we-
sure the IT could set us up
Why
that we
don't
could.
we run it
I
by,
have VPN licenses, so
can we
anybody
just
who
run
wants.
it by IT and move
Yeah.
on to the next topic? Do you think?
Okay, yeah, let's do that.
Okay.
Thank you for bringing that
We'll definitely revisit this. When we discuss proposed agenda items, we can talk
Okay,
about
yeah.
how exactly we will add that to our next agenda.
Thank you.
Well,
So,
maybe we could do the training at that special session or something.
Yeah.
yeah. But all good points to be bringing up.
Okay.
Technology is hard to manage in town sometimes, so.
Yes,
All right, so we'll table that. We just want to get that officially right now, but we're going to table the electronic communication policy for a future meeting so we can digest some of this policy.
I
Signs,
don't think we're officially tabling it. We're just continuing. We're just gonna-
continuing the
yeah.
discussion, but we're not taking a vote on anything
No.
right now.
Okay.
Signs for elections. Signs for elections. This is something Andrea
So
spoke
this
about.
was Sarah's.
Oh, right. I'm sorry,
Request.
Sarah.
Oh, I didn't know it was on for tonight because of me though. So yeah, you guys have heard me say this before, but you know, I go out in front when there's an election, when there's a vote, when there's a meeting, and there's some awesome 360 signs, and I love them. So no criticism, no shade, but there were no signs about the vote. There were no signs about the election. There were no signs about the town meeting. I requested the highway department to put the sign down at the T there, and they did that for the last town meeting, and some people said that was the only way they heard it. I had somebody tell me the only way they knew about it was because I spoke to them about it at MIMS. So that's just frankly, I just don't think that's acceptable. You know, this is our government. People should know to vote. And so we had talked about, you know, I know the electronic sign got voted down, but, you know, if the 350th can do it, yay to them, no criticism intended, then we can do it for a town meeting. We can do it for a town vote. We can put up signs so that our citizens know it's time to vote. I've seen some really cool, have you guys seen those flags that are like a hook up there and they've got a flag on it? It's kind of really long and it says voting today. I know it sounds kind of kitschy, but really just
Engagement. It's about engagement.
It's about engagement, yeah.
I couldn't agree more. I think it would be great to have some type of a better physical outreach in front of the town.
The town didn't want LED, so.
Well, yeah.
We weren't going to do LED. That was never discussed. It was an assumption at town meeting.
Well,
But
can we-
I know there's citizens who are willing to like say, okay, I'll put the A-frame out there or whatever, right? Like there's no lack of folks who are willing to do it for a one-day thing. It's not a huge or a 2-day or a week or something.
Yeah,
No,
so
our
are
biggest
you,
problem was
Just-
we had to store all those signs.
just a
and-
clarification.
Just go ahead. You wanna
Oh,
make-
sorry, just a clarification. So you're happy with the 350th approach, and that's what you just want to see for elections?
I think the 350th approach is fine. I think it's shame on us that we have 3 signs out for the 350th and none on a vote, right? On a meeting day or on a vote. I think that we
I'm
need
just
to,
clarifying that that's the suggestion and that would be acceptable?
I think that any loud announcement that it's time to vote, that it's a meeting, that's a bunch of places in town that people can see would be acceptable. I don't have a preference as to what it is, I just want it to exist. And I think that
I think Dan has done that in the past. I don't know what happened this past year. If you're talking
I
about,
can explain what happened this past.
okay, so that would be helpful. Also, we've moved the town clerk under, which now reports to the select board, and we can put, we can put more of a policy together that would be, we also did the, what is it, the code red, right? So now we've got a few tools in the toolbox and they just need to be deployed at the right time. So I think as we get closer, then we can just have the town clerk come up and we can have a discussion about what we're deploying when and who needs to be involved in it. Because there's no need for us to do things individually. If we're all in agreement, then we can just have a little plan and make sure that it actually works. And I know you guys have had storage issues and
Well,
also...
we had signs, they died. I mean, they just get frozen to the ground and they take a beating because they were using them year after year. So we
Right.
actually disposed of them. The letters all broke. They were also
Oh,
cited
okay.
in our ADA plan because they were on the 2 sides of the town hall entranceway because we have no place to store them. So that became a problem. So they didn't like that made access to both the town clerk's office and because they come in and they literally come right up against the door to the office when we place them inside, which is the only place we had to store them. So we had 2 of them sitting
Yeah.
inside there.
Okay.
And so that became an issue as to where to store them. We don't have any storage in town hall for signs like that. Also, it
We
was
don't
a
have
question-
storage, period.
Yeah. You know, they had to be dragged out and the letters had to be changed. And over time, we actually lost most of the letters, taping them together.
Okay.
So I would say if we're going to do some kind of signage, we need to think of something a little bit, that's why we kind of wanted to go to something that could be a little bit more permanent. Even if we had to change letters in it, we wanted something that didn't have to come inside, didn't have to come down, that might announce other things. Like, you know, rec sign up or 350th, and didn't have to be constantly dragged inside. But obviously, town meeting didn't agree. So now we're talking about
More signs?
putting multiple signs out there. We also had some complaints that they're small, they're hard to read when you're driving by. So
those big old flags and it says vote today.
well, we could do that.
You know,
It
that
wouldn't
kind of
be as
stuff.
informational, but those are the kinds of things we
Right.
could do. We could do that.
And there are plenty of situations in which the town buys disposable things that last for a couple of years, or businesses buy disposable things that last for a couple of years. A sign that you know you're going to have to replace every 5 years or whatever, and it's less expensive than a giant. I understand that there's a discussion about a permanent sign versus that. In the interim, we need to have signage. So whatever that is, before a next meeting, before a next vote, I feel really strongly, and you'll hear me beat this drum again, that we need to have signage because people need to know. It's
I-
just unconscionable for them to
I
not know.
think we're all in agreement. I think we're just figuring out what the solution is and then
Mhm.
how much it costs and who does it.
Yeah.
I think we're down to that part and what kind of storage we need. So perhaps when we get to the priority setting, because we've had outreach and communication, we can add that detail to our priorities. And then if there's something we need to do with the select board budget, for example, to pay for it, because we can't just buy stuff without
Appropriation.
appropriation.
Mhm.
So perhaps we can bring that up as part of our priorities and then figure out what the plan is and how much it costs and whether or not we need anybody else's help,
Mhm.
like the town hall
Right.
committee, for example.
Okay.
Yeah, who isn't really doing anything right now.
We haven't
anyway.
met in
Yeah.
a couple, probably at least a year, maybe
Yeah.
2 years.
Not since the Preston stuff.
Right.
Yeah, okay. I think we can just put it in the priorities and figure out the
Yeah.
budget and get it done.
Excuse
All
me.
right. If that satisfies our deliberation on that topic, we will move on to the next topic.
Oh, shoot.
Okay. Signed letter of support for the United States Department of Transportation Reconnecting Neighborhoods and Communities Grant. Big letter going from us as a select board to the Honorable Pete Buttigieg, who is the Secretary of the U.S. Department of Transportation. This is in regards to the Pawchog Shell Bridge Greenway, Shell Greenway project, and seeing if we can secure some federal funding for the remaining balance to move this project forward. So, in the letter, where it discusses things from community reconnection to the state and the state of the repair and the safety of the bridge, and the liability of that the bridge also, the economic opportunity that this bridge will present as a municipality to us, and the recreational impacts of the bridge, and if we feel strong putting this letter forward, that we feel that this bridge project will enhance the quality of life,
Oh, for sure.
safety, and connection for the town and the region, and also just justifying how this bridge was an essential growth to the town's early 20th century thriving, and remains a pivotal icon of Northfield as we celebrate the town's 350th. So we're hoping, if we all agreed, that with this letter and going forward to see if we can secure federal funding, that we can
Yay.
move this shelved project forward. So,
I will make a note that the theme of the 350th is reconnection.
reconnecting Northfield.
So-
What better than to actually use a, what's this? A
And it's
metaphor?
actually for reconnecting.
An
so
actual bridge that reconnects Northfield. So, yeah,
It's
I
literal
like
and
that.
metaphorical.
I like that.
Okay, I move that the select board sign the letter of support on behalf of the town of Northfield for the Massachusetts Department of Transportation's request for funding from the U.S. Department of Transportation's Reconnecting Communities and Neighborhoods program to fund construction of the Pawchog Shell Greenway project.
Look at that.
Second.
We got a second from Heath and a good motion from B. My
Thank
goodness.
you.
Wow.
I'm reading.
Final words, any discussion on that? Buttigieg. All right. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay. Motion has been made. It's been passed unanimously. The select board approves of this letter from the town of Northfield. Good letter, whoever
Yay.
crafted it.
Valerie wrote it.
She did a great job, and she
Mallory.
mentioned the 40 years too, which is great.
I got to make sure my signature looks really good on this.
Yeah.
Hold on. Yeah.
Get your left
can't laugh
ankle
with it.
working.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Yes.
Okay. I will bother.
Yes.
I was wondering if there's a figure attached to this request. Are you requesting a specific amount of money as part of this program?
No, I don't think so.
Yes, but
Oh, we
it's the same request we've made each time. It's through MassDOT. I believe it's 25 million or thereabouts, but Mallory could shoot her an email.
Okay, sounds good.
I can give you the exact number, but
Got you, thank you.
I think that's the request we've made each time.
Okay, got you. And that would be sort of full funding for the project?
No, the state has already obligated 25 and their own budget. The bids came into at 49 at some point, so now we need the additional funding.
Right.
So there is already state funding, which we keep checking is still available. We're still attached to the project.
Awesome, sounds good, thanks.
All right. Topics not reasonably anticipated by the chair 48 hours in advance of the meeting. Sandra, I can't think of anything. Nothing came forward. Nothing. Andrea? Okay. So that's taken care of. Committee board appointments. Want to just get through these quickly, folks?
Yep.
I move that we appoint Dan Campbell as an election officer. Term expires 8/15/2024.
Second.
Motion and second. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We sure we can trust him? I'm just joking.
I motion we reappoint Bruce Kahn as an election officer. Term expires 8/15/2024.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thanks to Bruce.
Yes.
Okay, I move that we reappoint Dan Campbell to the Board of Registrars. Term expires 8/15/2026.
Second.
Second from Heath. Discussion. I guess retirement didn't suit him.
He's still busy.
He's still busy. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Unanimous passing. As I like to say, thank you for the reappointment practices of these people and for your call to furthering your public service for Northfield. It's nice to have volunteers in this town. So that's good. Proposed agenda items. Continuing the discussion of the electronic mail access and usage.
Yeah, the only other thing I would note is, sorry, I have more than one list. Maybe add the police policies on there.
If he tells me they're ready.
Then you'll add them.
Right.
But they're coming up, so maybe stick them in one of those categories.
Okay.
Yeah.
Future topics.
Under TBD,
Yeah,
I'll put
yeah.
police policies until he tells us they're ready to come.
He's been warning us a long time.
Also kind of ancillary, that the printing issue that we had discussed. The
Yes, okay.
networky thing.
Yeah, we can find a way to get that in there.
One that I wanted to consider for the future, it kind of goes along with the signs, is the ADA policy for voting, because we haven't had a policy for town meeting, or I don't know if we have a policy. Citizens have contacted me saying that they have disabilities and are unable to vote. And on a federal level, we're really supposed to make sure that they can vote. And so I'd like to start talking about how we can make that possible. Yeah, we're supposed to make sure that they have access.
We're
do have
completely 100% ADA compliant here.
Well,
They can also, I mean, if they can't come to the building, which I don't understand how, we have an elevator, we have a ramp, but we also have, people, especially at the federal level, can certainly do ballot.
I just mean that it's a requirement that we vote, and it's that we help them to vote. And they were, at the last town meeting, were unable to attend because of illness or because of exposure, and we're supposed to set up some kind of
Not
access.
supposed to. There are options to do that if you have the technology to do remote town meeting. Voting is not required.
Oh, you're talking about the town meeting.
That's a
Not voting.
Oh, I thought you were
not
talking
elections.
about voting. Yeah, that's.
no, we're completely
Voting at the
compliant.
town
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
that's
Okay.
different.
I just want to avoid too much discussion on
Okay,
this.
sorry.
Because it is just
Okay.
a proposed agenda
Yeah,
item.
it's a
but,
proposed agenda item.
yeah, why don't we just put that down and we can further our discussion at that
Okay,
at
thank
another
you.
meeting. That would be great. Well, I know the request was withdrawn for a leave of absence for Sergeant Alex Broskop, but I would like to see if there is eventually going to be a discussion regarding what the future is for him in the town of Northfield. So if we can get that at some point, that would be appreciated.
Well, he's officially going to be resigning.
Okay, but we need a letter. I want a
That's
letter.
right. That's what I'm waiting for. So, I mean,
Yeah.
it will be on your next agenda, I'm assuming.
Okay,
Because
Then that's all I know.
he begins his state employment on the 11th.
that's all I wanted
So
to
he
know.
has to resign from the
Oh,
town effective
to
with 10.
officially wrap it up. Oh.
Yep.
In order to attend the State Police Academy, you actually become an employee of the state.
We're hardly getting 2 weeks' notice here, but anyways, besides the point, we'll get that on the agenda. Anything else?
Oh, I did want to add the part about, I wanted to add a discussion about being able to get the warrant earlier.
It was here at 4, which is what I think we agreed to last week.
Okay, but I'd like to add it to the discussion, that's all.
Okay.
I'm not sure, yeah, you just tell me what you're looking for. She comes in today to do both warrants, so I'm not sure.
Okay,
how
I
much
wasn't,
earlier.
I'm just trying to add it to the agenda so we can
All right.
discuss it.
Is that payroll? Payroll and vendor?
No, just the other, I think it's in there.
The other what?
Vendor?
Just
Okay.
the vendor warrant is the one I'm interested in, but I mean, we can discuss both of them.
Oh, just clarifying what you're putting. Okay.
You will have the Emergency Services Regionalization Efficiency Grant Report.
Oh, yeah.
They're coming to do that presentation.
Yes.
Yay.
We're scheduled for the 19th on that.
Yay.
And we're pretty much, hopefully we'll have our Assistant Treasurer Collector appointment on that day too, since the interviews are Thursday.
Okay.
So those two are definitely on there.
Okay.
And as usual, I will meet with my agenda staff to coordinate the
Every Wednesday?
items
Good for you,
appropriately
Alex.
so that we can move government forward here in the town of Northfield. So, good topics, things that we brought up here. We'll do the best we can to factor that in so that I can keep forward my promise of designing a 2-hour select board meeting. Doesn't always work though.
Be under an hour and a half today.
Well, that's
Yeah.
good. I have a thing to get to. So, announcements. I don't think there's any announcements.
Just want to remind people if they want to volunteer for the 350th parade, please either contact us here at Town Hall or go on the website. We are still looking for volunteers to be part of the fun.
Okay.
Great. I'll help. Okay.
Megaphone out of the car. Select board. Fun.
Anyone?
Like in Back to
Anyone?
the Future. Re-elect Mayor Red Thomas. Progress is his middle name.
Maybe Ferris Bueller. Anyone? Okay.
Anybody? Recognition for service. We got anything? Any shout
Sergeant
outs?
Proskop is
I
again.
would just like to say congratulations to Sergeant Parashkov on, I know how hard my nephew and his wife went through the academy, and it's not an easy thing to do by any stretch of the imagination.
It's
So,
difficult to even get accepted.
yeah, so I'm super proud of him, and I appreciate everything that he's done for the town, and his good, friendly spirit, I think, will suit him well in the state police.
Yeah.
I think he's going to be very successful.
Also like to mention, when he did step up and do the
Acting.
interim acting police chief, I
Yeah.
mean, he did a great job.
Yeah.
And, I didn't hear any complaints, and
Nope. He was well trained.
That's good. All right. If we're all set,
Motion to adjourn.
motion to adjourn.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor?
Bye.
Thank you.
Did everybody sign the letter? Because it made its way around?